Hello, this is Agnish Bhaduri from Visitech Solutions and welcome to the second video in the blockchain series. In this video, we will be going through the concept of blockchain. We'll be understanding some of the basic functionalities and finally, we'll be looking at some of the competitive advantages it has over the current day systems. So let us start with understanding what is the blockchain. Well, first, the blockchain is simply a distributed database system. Second, if you look at the technical definition, it says that the blockchain is a distributed peer-to-peer ledger. If you've been through the previous video, as we've discussed, a distributed system is one where every participant is a point of authority and they are all equal in nature. And it is through their interaction that the system is supported. Finally, the ledger word comes in because the blockchain is nothing but a registry of transactions of various sorts, as we will see later. Now, every participant within the system has a complete version of the database, or to be more technical, a ledger of the transactions. So every participant has an insight into the complete list and history of transactions that have happened in that particular network. This is what puts in the factor of transparency in blockchain systems. Then, every transaction is declared valid only and only after it has been cleared by a majority of the participants in the network. There is a consensus required to validate any transaction in the network. This is done with consensus algorithms and hash cryptography. This ensures that hacking the system is economically unfeasible and only those transactions or decisions go through the system which are cleared by a majority. You can think of this as a democratic system of sorts, but that's just my take on it. Then, the blockchain can transfer any item of value. It does not have to be a cryptocurrency or information. Any item that carries any form of value, any asset, can be transferred across the network. It is simply the rights that are being transferred. Next, the blockchain is the underlying technology behind the Bitcoin. This is how the blockchain was invented. In fact, in 2008, when Satoshi Nakamoto released the white paper on peer-to-peer systems called Bitcoins, people first experimented with the concept of Bitcoin and then realized that the underlying technology behind the Bitcoin can be used for many other purposes. And this is what came to be known as the blockchain. And this brings me to my final point. And this is a really important point if you want to understand the blockchain course properly. And it is that the blockchain is not the Bitcoin. Now, I have taken several conferences and seminars over the past few months, and I have faced this issue repeatedly, where people cannot pass the barrier that the blockchain and the Bitcoin are the same thing. So I would like to reiterate this. And it is that important a point that the blockchain is not equal to the Bitcoin. Now, why say this? It is simply an application of the Bitcoin. I would look at it as Facebook and the internet. The internet isn't Facebook because the Facebook is simply an application that uses the internet. Similarly, blockchain as a technology offers multiple use cases in various industries. Any industry that faces an issue with the safety of records and data and could use the elimination of middlemen is an industry that is viable to be disrupted by the blockchain. Thus, to again reiterate, blockchain is the technology that surrounds the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin is simply an application that uses the technology called blockchain, and the blockchain can be used for many other purposes, as we will now see through our use cases in different videos. Now, a blockchain enables participants to transfer any item of value. These can include cryptocurrencies, cars, information, intellectual property, anything. Every user is connected to every user, and multiple copies of the records are maintained to ensure transparency and safety. The lack of middlemen in these systems drives down costs. Thus, all these features make the blockchain a safer, more secure, and cheaper method of transacting. So, let us sum up some of the advantages that are highlighted. The first, there is disintermediation. The system is self-supported and it depends on a high number of users to ensure a smooth functioning. It does not require an intermediary to validate transactions or act as a third party. This is very important because in an ideal situation, middlemen simply drive costs up and reduce efficiency. They also slow down the system. Second, empowered users. All the users have equal power and there is no hierarchy. In fact, the hierarchy is flat. Thus, every user is in charge of verifying transactions and keeping the system self-sustained. Third, process integrity. There is a systematic procedure for verifying transactions, and this makes users trust the system. Fourth, transparency and immutability. Let us talk about immutability first. The concept of immutability states that any previous records and transactions cannot be erased. What this ensures is that there cannot be any fraud, because you cannot go back historically and change the value or any particular record to your own gain. To reverse any previous transactions, a new transaction has to be proposed to the network and then approved by every participant in the network. Fifth, there are faster transactions. Now, although this isn't true as of today, as systems such as Visa and MasterCard are much faster in processing transactions, the blockchain networks are becoming faster and evolving. As I mentioned earlier, it is still a nascent technology. It is still stabilizing. But as more and more users join the network and there is an increase in the number of miners, the transaction time will keep improving. And finally, it will beat the current systems. It will thus be the fastest system available once a sufficient number of people have joined the network. And finally, the system is cheaper simply because there is no intermediary. And this is going to have a downward pull on the cost. So to sum up, the blockchain might be cheapest, the safest, soon to be the fastest, the most transparent system that ever existed. It gives more power to the people and puts less power or takes away all the power from intermediaries. Think about today's world. Intermediaries exist everywhere, from your bank to the government to sales, everywhere. And although till date we have thought of their function in the entire production process to be really important, if there was a way that technology can substitute their function, it would be a win-win for the producer and the consumer. And that day has finally come. The blockchain is the technology that will reduce our dependency on intermediaries. Thanks for watching this video on the blockchain basics. We shall now start examining the different use cases of the blockchain and looking at the business landscape. We will look at different companies, investments, and where the industry of blockchain is headed into the future. This is Agnish Bhaduri from VisitTech. Thanks for watching this video. See you in the next one. Thank you.